Congressman Griffith and Ranking Member McGovern and members of the committee, once again, we're not here to debate solutions that lower costs for Americans, tackle the affordable housing crisis, support small businesses, or build a thriving financial system that works for everyone. Instead, Republicans are advancing a resolution that undermines critical programs like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and Obamacare by simply suggesting that these policies that support hardworking Americans leads to despotic, totalitarian government. And so, let me just ask, the government shutdown demonstrated how important food assistance programs, how important they are to 42 million people in America. But this resolution would cast such assistance as so-called socialism. It's crystal clear how President Trump views the Americans who rely so very much on food assistance after possibly breaking the law to pay masked federal agents as they arrest U.S. citizens. The administration fought twice in the Supreme Court to avoid having to use legally available funds that would let hungry Americans eat. Instead of working to end the shutdown, the Trump administration fired an entire office, the Community Development of Financial Institutions Fund, a critical agency that works with small lenders to offer affordable loans and assistance in rural and struggling communities. Trump's action was so outrageous that more than 220 lawmakers in Congress, including 102 Republicans, rebuked the president. I'm appalled that after witnessing Americans struggling during their 2-month paid vacation, they're gutting even more programs that Americans depend on instead of taking action to lower the cost of living. And it couldn't come at a worse time. This past October saw the highest level of job cuts since 2003. Up to 22 million Americans will see their monthly health insurance premiums double, and up to 5 million Americans may become uninsured because Republicans refuse to extend the Obamacare tax cuts and tax credits. And as more than 4 million young people experience homelessness, the Trump administration is cutting funding that could put 170,000 people back on the street. Instead of addressing these issues, House Republicans are trying to scare the American people about so-called socialism. Now, everyone here agrees that we should denounce brutal dictators like Stalin or Pol Pot, but the sponsor seems to have forgotten history's most terrible dictators like Adolf Hitler. And why aren't we denouncing modern-day dictators like Putin, who has for the last 3 years terrorized Ukraine and his own people? Why aren't we denouncing President Xi of China, who runs concentration camps for ethnic minorities? Because maybe it's because Republicans know that President Trump admires both Putin and Xi. Or if my Republican colleagues are so concerned about socialism in the U.S., why not denounce the actions we've seen in the last year that follows those dictators' playbook? President Trump has targeted the free press, targeted universities, our fair legal system, forced the Justice Department to prosecute his political opponents, sent mass federal agents and military into U.S. cities, such as mine, arrested and detained Americans, including children. He's also demanded the government be given ownership interest in American companies like Intel. If that's not socialist, I don't know what it is. And he has undermined the role of this body, blocking funding that Congress passed into law. And like other modern-day dictators, the Trump family is finding countless ways to personally benefit, using their own stablecoin and other cryptocurrencies, even as Congress considers legislation and regulators writes the rules. In fact, The Trump family is more than $1 billion richer from crypto alone since taking office. And while Americans struggle to put food on the table, Trump is building a golden ballroom in the White House, spending $40 billion to Argentina, sending it and hosting Great Gatsby-themed parties at Mar-a-Lago. Okay, all right. And so none of this, anything in this resolution, does nothing to lower costs in America. So I urge my colleagues to remove this resolution and instead simply ask a no vote and allow amendments instead of passing a closed rule. I yield back.